Hi, this is Jacqueline with Nickel and Dime Decor, and today we're going to make a baby quilt using the pattern, the Yellow Brick Road. And when I took a quilt class, it was very stressful for me because all the ladies in the class knew what they were doing, and I didn't. And I wouldn't recommend that for anybody, so I want to do this video for you. You can learn at your own pace, run it back and forth as many times as you want, and it'll be so much easier for you. And we're probably going to make about 3 videos to cover it all, because it takes a while to make a baby quilt. So let's get started, and let's make a Yellow Brick Road. Bye. Okay, the very first thing that we need to do is to cut out our fabric properly. And this pattern says that I need, for a baby quilt, is what I'm making. So I need 6 fat quarters. A fat quarter is approximately 18 by 22 inches. And I have 6 different colors, different patterns. I'll show them all to you in just a minute. And I've already cut out mine, but I wanted to show you how to do it. I have folded it selvage to selvage. And even though my selvages are gone, I know that's the right way to turn it because my directions say that I will have approximately 10.5 on this side and 18 inches on this side, on the bottom. And that's what we have. So we know how to fold it. Now it says that I need to square up my fabric. Well, what does that mean? It might look straight to the eye, but it's probably not. So I'm going to go around my table here because I can cut on this side better. And I've got my lined up on my line, and I have evened this side up. I have squared it off. I'm going to go back around. Now our directions say for a baby quilt that I need to cut this 6.5. Well, my ruler just happens to be 6.5. I don't have to move it. I don't have to touch it. It's right there for me. So we're going to cut a 6.5 inch strip. And then I'm going to move this over just a little so I can see. And then 3.5. So I line my 3.5 inch up. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And I'm going to cut a 3.5 inch. And then I'm going to cut another one. And one more. So I'm going to have 3.5 strips. And that's all the waste that we have. Isn't that wonderful? I don't like to waste fabric, so I love the way they have this cut out. Okay. There's your 3.5 inch strips, and like I say, I don't need these. I've already cut mine out, but I just wanted to show you how to cut them out. And you're going to end up with 18 of the 3.5 inch strips. And here's all of my pretty combinations. I chose these. I just thought they were good primary colors. My grandson is expecting a little boy, so I thought this would be perfect. And then I'll have kind of the darker blue for my backing and for the border. So there's my 18 I've already cut. And then I have 6 of the 6.5, which is quite simple so far, isn't it? Now, the next step in quilting that you need to know is you have to have a perfect 1/4 inch seam, or as close to perfect as you can get. And what we're going to do is we're going to test it out. And I'm going to cut 1.5 inch strips, 3 of them. And I'm going to sew them together, gauging on my machine what is a 1/4 inch. And then when we've sewn, they don't have to be long, just 2 or 3 inches. After we've sewn the 3 1.5 inch strips, we're going to measure that middle strip, and it should be exactly 1 inch. Now, it might take me 3 or 4 tries because honestly, on my machine, where I have it lined up, I just don't get a real good 1/4 inch. So I'm going to work on this real hard until it's perfect. And then we'll mark our machine with some tape or something so we know exactly what our 1/4 inch seam allowance is. So I'm going to stop right here and practice on my 1/4 inch. And then when I get through and I've conquered it, I will come back and we'll proceed. Okay, we're back. And I've been practicing, and I'm pretty satisfied. I did 2 of them, and I got the middle piece right here is just almost perfect 1 inch. So I know you do that so that you know where to put your machine. And I have taken a strip of tape and put it on my 1/4 inch line. And what we're fixing to do now, over here is 6 inch piece and a 3.5 inch piece, and I've sewed it together. And there's 2 of them here. I just randomly picked which colors I wanted with what. So I've already done 2 of them. And the reason that you want to be so precise with that 1/4 inch is we're going to subcut these. And then they have to measure exactly. So now let's sew this last one on here. And I have moved my needle to the right 1 little tiny push of the button. And that's what's given me a good 1/4 inch seam. Maybe your machine will give you one without having to do that. But for me, it works better if I put my needle over just 1 step. I've already started sewing these together, this one together. And this one, we just do 3 of them. Remember, we have 6 of these great big 6.5 inch ones. But we're just using 3 of them right now. We'll use the others later. So let's go ahead and just I'm keeping my fabric lined up against this piece of tape. And that's how I'm able to, and keeping the bottom piece right smack dab even with it. And I'm getting just a real good even seam by doing this. I know it seems like a lot of trouble, but in quilting, you have to have that exact seam or nothing fits right. And it's real exasperating when it doesn't fit right. I'm kind of holding my fabric. I'm not pulling, but I'm holding it up here. It's just helping me to stay straight. you don't ever want to pull on your fabric because there might be a little bit of bias to these strips, and you'll stretch your fabric. And you'll be able to tell it too. But I want this to be so simple and so plain to you that you can go and try to do this yellow brick road. I know I'm going to repeat it, what I stated. You just need 6 fat quarters. And I don't know how much a fat quarter costs, but it's relatively inexpensive. And that's what you're going to start with. And of course, then later you'll need your binding and your backing. Okay, I'm going to go across over to my iron because you want to be sure and iron this good. And I'm going to iron the seam towards the darker color. So I'm going to go this way and press this way. You have to press good, so it's important to get the right seam allowance and to get your good measurement. And you don't iron, you just press. You just press. If you iron, you might stretch your fabric. So just give it a good press. Ironing is a very important step in quilting. I guess you have to be a little meticulous to be a quilter. You have to, I guess, want to make it look right. Okay. Now we have our 3 pieces of 6.5 inch and a 3.5 inch. And now we're going to cut again. I'm going to walk around the table. I have to go back and forth and back and forth. And our directions tell us. And some people are so good at cutting, they can do 3 of these at a time. I'm not one of them. I just don't, if I messed up all 3 of them at one time, I would be very upset. So I'd rather mess up 1 of them and not all 3 of them. Okay, I don't have to pay attention to my grid here because I'm using my ruler, this one. Remember, it's 6.5 inches wide. So I want to put it exactly on the edge, and I know I have a good straight edge because remember we squared it up. And I want a 6.5 inch strip. And my fabric is on here very crooked, so it's going to look crooked. So I'll straighten it up just a little bit. Okay. There's a 6.5. Then we want another 6.5. And then we want 2 3.5s. So we find our 3.5. And another 3.5. And that's all we have left. Remember, we didn't hardly have any the last time. So we've got our 3.5 twice and 6.5 twice. And we're going to do all 3 of these just like that. 6.5 and 2.5. We have these 3 sections. So let's put our little stack up there and do our next one. Six and a half. Talk to yourself when you're cutting and, well, when you're sewing. It's just a unwritten rule. Talk to yourself to keep yourself straight. Another 6.5. Excuse me. 3.5. Well, got a tickle in my throat. And another 3.5. There's our leftover. Okay. We'll put these on our stack of 6.5s and our stack of 3.5. And we will cut this one. And we'll be ready to go. Two 6.5s. And two 3.5s. You have to get one of these little rulers for this. It's just so perfect. It's called the Big Mama. Now, why it's called a Big Mama when it's a lot smaller than your 24-inch, but it's 6.5 inches across and 12 inches, and it's perfect for this particular quilt pattern. Okay, we have accomplished that. Now we're going to stitch 3.5s. Let's pick this one. And we don't want to duplicate what we've got on the little ones. So let me see what went with the, yeah, that went with the blue. I don't want, I'm just going to take a dark. So we want to take these 2 strips and sew them together. And we want to do that with 4 of them. We did 3 of these, but we're going to do 4 of these. So we're just going to put these together. I'm going to go ahead and put them together, and then we'll sew and come back. We're going to put this one and this one together. No, we've already used that one. But it's kind of hard to put all of your fabrics together and not do the same. Okay, we're going to do that, and then we're going to do this one and this blue one. Okay, the blue and that, this, and we need one more set, don't we? So we haven't used this one yet. Yes, we have. Yes, we have. So what haven't we used? I guess we've already got to start duplicating. Well, I messed up my strips. Okay. This can't be that hard, folks. One, two, three, four. Okay, we're going to have to use one of these twice. So let's use this and this. I'm going to put those two together. These two together, these two, and these two. Okay? We're going to put them right sides together, and we're going to sew our perfect 1/4 inch seam. And we get that all done, we'll be right back. Okay, I've got my 3½ inch strips, 2 of them sewn together, and I have 4 different combinations. Now we're going to cut them out, and I've pressed them and pressed the seams towards the dark color. And we're going to cut just like we have before, 6½ twice, and 3½ and 3½. Six and a half. Six and a half. 3½. And 3½. Take our next piece and do the same thing. 6½. 6½. And 2 3½. This is pretty much repetition, which is a good thing. And you always have that little piece on the end left. Okay, I'm going to stack those like that. I could have had these cut, but I know that you need to watch some things over so you've got the drift of it all good. 3.5. And 3.5. I guess if you know you don't have enough for your last 3.5, you've done something wrong. But I bet you won't. I bet you'll do it just right. Okay, did I do 4 of these? Yes, I did. I think it's going to be so pretty put together. Isn't it going to be with all these primary colors? And it's going to be a good color combination for a little baby boy, I think. Okay, now our directions say that we are to take mix them up and take one of the 6.5 and one of the shorter ones, the 3.5 inch, which we will set that aside and use this and sew it right like that. Put it right at the top. And you don't have to match any seams or anything, thank goodness. So I'm going to go around and just sew this one together real fast. And we'll see what it, and iron it, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, let's press it and just set our seams and then press it. Press these 2 center seams right here to the center. I'll turn it over. Press this to the center and this to the center. I'll bring it over there and show you in just a second. There we have our first piece. And it says that it should measure, now this is where we hope we're doing it right, 6.5, 6.5 perfecto, and 9.5. We got to tug and pull just a little bit. 9.5. We did it right. 9.5 by 6.5. And when you iron it again, be sure and to kind of pull just a little bit to get those seams perfectly flat. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and sew and make all of my combinations, and when I get them all done, I'll be right back and we'll see what we have. Okay, let's do a little fast review. We don't want to get lost. If you want to label these pieces, this would be A and B, or 6-inch and 3.5 inch. If you want to pin them together and label them with an A piece of paper and put an A, that's great. Then this piece that we made, well, these are A, and this will be B, because we sewed the 2 3-inch, and then this is C, so it's B and C together. And you can put them all together and pin them and put B and C. Then, now we're going to make D, and they're strips, and they're 9.5-inch strips out of the 7 21-inch long strips that we had left. And you're going to get 2 of them out of each strip, and I've already cut them. So those are going to be labeled D if you want to label. Then you're going to take this B and C, and you're going to match it up with one of your 9-inch strips. And I've got them all matched here. I've put them together already ahead. Tried to stay away from the 9-inch that was already in there, but that wasn't possible on all of them. But I've got them pretty well matched. See, this one's got a yellow with it. And so try to keep them all different. Don't duplicate yourself. And I've already sewed them. And I'm not going to do that for you, because you can do that. But you're going to sew your 9-inch strip on the right-hand side. And there's what you're going to get. And when you put them down on your mat, this hasn't been ironed though, so that's not a good thing to do. If it was ironed, it would be 9.5 by 9.5. And I think that's just about perfect. I'm so pleased with my seams. 9.5 by 9.5. So do that on all of these. So the piece on the right hand side, and you'll have it. Now, the next, I'm not going to do them all, but when we come back, I'll show you. Here's another one that I did. That one's on the right hand side. So they're all different, hopefully. Now the next thing that we're going to do is take our units. These were our A units, remember? And we're going to take them and take the remaining D strips and sew them on the right hand side. Let's put, I'm just going to match them up. Let's put this one with that one. And this one, let's put this. And this one, well, we don't have another one. Oh, yes, we do. Well, the blues. We'll have to do the blue. Got more blues than anything, don't I? Put blue with this. And blue with this. And this one. So they're all different. So we're going to sew those together. So let me do that, and I'm going to finish up the others and sew these together. And we will come back and I'll show you what I've accomplished. Okay, y'all, this is what it looks like. This was our A units with the 9-inch strip on each side. And I varied all of my colors and used them as randomly as I could. And then this was the block B and C with the 9-inch strips, and they're all done. And I wanted to tell you that when you sew this on, when you put it together, sew it from the back side so that you can watch your seams and you can get them flat and not all bunched up. So sew them from the back and it will work so much better for you. So we've got that stack. Now what do? We have our big 6.5-inch strips, 3 of them left. And we have our B strips left. So let's see what it tells us to do. I'm going to move these up here out of the way. And it says to cut these 6.5-inch strips into 5 inches. So let's see, 5 inches. And we are going to cut 4 of them off each strip. And I won't cut the others because I'm just going to show you what we're going to do. Then it says to take this strip. And let's see, stretch the assorted G units together along the long edge. Oh, wait. Oh, no, I have to cut the rest of them. So... because we have to put them in pairs. So, got to do that. So, that's not straight for some reason. I'm going to have to straighten out. That happens sometimes. Your fabric can get twisted on you and not be square anymore, so you want to watch out for that, because our fabric is not square. That twisted on me. Okay, now we want another 5-inch. Do the other one. Sorry, I would have had these cut, but I thought I wanted you to see what I was doing. I know it's not just a whole lot of fun just to watch somebody cut something. But, but this won't take but a second and we'll be done. Okay, now we're going to pair up a couple of these, and it says stitch them along the long edge. So we're going to sew them together, and I guess we're going to just do a random, we'll just do like that and keep alternating and go blue, this color, and yellow, the blue, and we'll sew all those together. Stitch the 3.5 by 6.5 units. Then after we've paired, we pair them together and sew it. That's what we do. Sorry. Sew this together. Stitch the assorted, yeah, we're going to stitch these together. Okay. We're going to stitch them this way because they're supposed to be 6.5 after we've sewn it by 9.5. Okay, so we're going to stitch them this way, the long way, not the short end like I showed you, not that way. We're going to stitch them this way, stitch them together. Then after we get them stitched, they will be like so. Then we will sew these strips on this side, on the left side. We've been doing them on the right side, but this is going to be on the left side, it says. And our blocks should be 9.5, just like those are. So let me sew a couple of these together, and then we'll sew this on there, and we'll see if we get a good 9.5. So we'll do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're going to wrap this up, this video, and then next week we will continue. But we have all of our blocks made. This is the one that we just did, the 5" by 6.5, and I sewed them on the long sides together. Then on the left side, we put this A unit, and I have them all different. Tried to get them all different. If they're the same, I alternated them so they wouldn't be. And there are 6 of them that we just did. We have no pieces left. They're all sewn together. There's 6 in that pile, 6 in our second unit where we had the A and B and C and attach the D's. There's 8 of these, 6 of these that we just did, and 8 of these, and 6 of these. These were the very first blocks that we did. And Altogether, you have 20 blocks. And for a baby quilt, we're going to put them 5 blocks in a row and 4 rows. I believe that's right. 1, 2, 3. No, 4 blocks. 4 blocks this way and 5 long ways. Okay? And that's going to be our baby blanket. And the next thing, when you come back next week, we're going to put it together down on the floor because I don't have a table big enough. And we're going to lay all of these out. And they give you a pretty good diagram of how to lay them out and turn them every which way. Remember, this is called the yellow brick road. So the pathway is not all that clear. And it shouldn't be. So I am so pleased how quickly we have made all of the blocks and all of the quilt top. And I tell you, it's going to just be gorgeous. And I'm so excited. And I'm going to try to get this posted Thursday morning. And then the next video will be, we'll do another video maybe Tuesday. And lay out all of the top and get all that. That's going to take a while because, you know, when you start laying out, you get one that doesn't belong somewhere and you have to rearrange. So I'll try to get this posted in the morning. And then next week, watch for number 2 video on the yellow brick road, and we'll put it all together. And then we will cut out our backing and cut out our binding and put it together. And we are going to have a baby quilt. This has been the easiest one I think I've ever done. It's just been remarkable, and I have enjoyed it. And I so hope that you are going to do this, or that you've been doing it with me, or that you're going to do it. You don't have any pressure on you. You don't have any time frame. You do it at your own ease and just enjoy the process. Thank you for watching, and God bless.